Well, back for round 2. So the mechanic is if you guess the correct candy you get a buff and a cursed one grants you a debuff. And she has more than 200 HP, the fight should be trivial due to the luck effect. But let's see how it goes. Suddenly, a swirling vortex of pink mist emerges in the central point of the room, coalescing and parting to reveal the Saccharine Sorceress, her entrance as dramatic as the deep scowl etched on her face. Her cotton candy pink hair flows down her back, and her pure white gown hugs her chubby form tightly. In her hand, she holds a staff adorned with an enormous, glowing lollipop gem. Her frown deepens as she surveys the room, her piercing gaze landing on you. You grip your weapon tighter, readying yourself for the inevitable onslaught. This battle is an endurance type of thing, where she will constantly inflict more and more debuffs on you, starting with Intense Hunger, that she casts directly. Intense Hunger makes your metabolism go into overdrive, making you constantly starving instead of sated, and that also grants you a debuff to your dodge and accuracy. After that, she summons Cursed Gumdrops, and it seems that one of those she summons is not cursed, but just heals you, and even gives you a Sugar Rush buff for an extra action. And her damage output is her razor-sharp candy cannon that can hit up to 3 times for 10 damage each, so if you have many stacked debuffs reducing your dodge, she can really shred you with this. The next debuff she uses is to summon a sweet drink that she makes you drink, making you tired. She does have a lot of HP that needs to be whittled down, so using some risky reckless attacks with a many-hit weapon is a good option, and if there ever was a time to spend arrows, it's now. So if you eat a wrong gumdrop, one of the debuffs you can get is Attack Down, reducing your damage. While you have this, just use a single hit weapon instead of any multi-hit ones, since you would be impacted less. Her weakest attack is the Candy Whip, as it only deals 10 damage, so it's a free turn for you to attack. The worst curse you can get from the gumdrops is the Blinded Curse, as it destroys your accuracy, pulling your damage to a crawl. The best way to get past being blind is with a luck potion or a good bow, so that's what I did, used a few bow shots to finish her off.
I'm hungry, feed me or I start eating your equipment.
She can eat my equipment. You pause for a moment to catch your breath, your heavy form making the climb more difficult than before. There's no mistaking it, now your body has taken on an ample softness quite impossible to ignore. Your clothing, once a perfect fit, is no longer able to cover the expanse of your belly. Your belt buckle groans under the weight, sitting under the overhang created by your bloated abdomen. The pants pull tight across your broad hips, emphasizing their widened girth. Each movement feels heavier and comes with a soft jiggle, but you manage to muster the strength to push forward. You can't help but wonder what the tower has in store for you next.
The last battle was embarrassing. Feed me next time and I'll help you suck less.
Wow, damn, you know what, let's see how you like this.
Oh, what are you pulling out there?
Pipsqueak's eyes widen with delight as you present her the massive food offering, her tiny hands grabbing it eagerly.
Oh ho, all for me. Now we're talking. Prepare yourself for some serious fairy magic in return.
Pipsqueak twirls her finger, and a shower of gold coins shoot out of the satchel opening. This little gremlin just ate a tub of lard without issue. Damn. Now this is a cool fight, so here we have two imps that start off really thin and a feeder fairy that's going to stuff them and grant them more powerful attacks and more HP to a point. So to start off, I really wanted to see what would happen if I let the feeder fairy do her thing, and I got rid of one of the imps. The imps start off with a dangerous attack that can hit up to 5 times, dealing 6 damage each, so it can be deadly. As the fairy feeds the imp, she becomes more round, more tanky, and more deadly, now having a 9 times 5 attack. But the feeder fairy does not stop, and forces more food into the poor imp, making her even fuller and finally collapse on the ground in a food coma. The fairy did not really want to fight you, as we saw here. She just wanted to feed the imps, so she gets bored, and just leaves when the imp becomes too full to continue being stuffed. Caught in a glare of warm torchlight, you stop to examine your reflection in an ornate mirror hanging on the tower wall. Your body strains against the limit of your armor, the leather creaking under the pressure of your expanded form. Your pants are drawn taut over your wide hips and sizable ass, the fabric stretching thin against the pressure. You feel your hefty softness with each step you take, an undeniable wobble in your walk. The breadth of your body almost doesn't fit through doorways anymore, and you find yourself having to turn to the side to make it through, your swollen form rubbing against the stone walls. Your condition certainly adds a layer of challenge to your journey, yet your determination remains unyielding as you wonder what the next level of the tower will bring. Again, visiting the fat goblin gang, I take the opportunity as always to sell some outdated weapons and buy some food to keep my HP up. I also do pick up the bow upgrade they have on display here. And I did indeed try to sell the blue fairy, wondering what would happen, but I did not see an option to do so. Next room is shrouded in darkness. It takes your eyes a moment to adjust to the lack of light. At the center of the room, you make out a shadowy figure concealed under a hooded cloak. Although their eyes aren't visible, you feel their gaze, which makes the hairs on your neck stand on end. The figure speaks, their voice a raspy whisper tells you, "Mortal, I can offer you an item of great power, but in exchange, I ask for a modicum of your life essence." The figure holds out their bony hand expectantly. You feel like accepting this deal will have negative consequences.
I could get used to human-sized portions.
Pipsqueak's eyes widen with delight as you present her the food offering, her tiny hands grabbing it eagerly.
Ooh, this'll keep me going for a bit. Nothing fancy, but I can definitely zap some magic your way now.
Pipsqueak glows as she channels some kind of spell. You feel a surge of power. Your attacks will do more damage for 3 turns. Not much to say about the plant girl fight. She has entangling magic that lowers your dodge, but not much after that. I did give her a chance to do something else that's cool, but it seems she is mostly a support debuff type. I do wonder if she can spawn together with a feeder fairy and be stuffed like the imp. The spirit fight is really easy with a multi-hit weapon. Since she has massive dodge, you just need to keep rolling hits with something until you get her. But this is the wrong way to beat her. True gamers let themselves be fed until the belch option becomes available so you can belch away the spirit with her own food. As the dust of the encounter settles, you scan the room for any missed details before heading to the doorway. As you move through the corridor, you pass by another adventurer heading in the opposite direction. She seems particularly tired, trudging slowly through the corridor, telling you, "Well, it looks like we've both eaten more than our fill, eh? This tower seems to have a way of changing us. Makes me wonder if the riches at the top are worth these struggles." She muses, a wistful look in her eyes. You wish the adventurer luck and continue on your journey. Of course we try Goblin diplomacy, and it fails. Yeah, this won't become a reoccurring gag. Well, she hits pretty hard, so I just damage race her with my sword since it can take her out in 2 turns. So just to talk a bit about my level up strategy, it's dex maxing all the way, some agility to keep above that dreaded 0 as we gain more weight, and some accuracy so we can win faster. And not miss every single attack. I do think the magic route is powerful, but from what I remember you only get to unlock good stuff at mana 4 or 5, there's an item that can help with that. A ring with some mana on it, but I think a mix of agility and accuracy is the best. Well, here we go again. It's the same imp and fairy fight again. Look, taking out both imps at the start is the optimal thing to do, but come on, I just wanted to see them get stuffed again, so I did the exact same thing. I swear that fairy fights you, the player, directly. She knows what you want and she will give it to you, but you will pay in some health. What can you do to fight such a brutal opponent? I mean, what could I possibly do? Maybe shoot her with a bow. No way. As the dust of the encounter settles, you scan the room for any missed details before heading to the doorway. As you move through the corridor, you pass by another adventurer heading in the opposite direction. The plump warrior's face looks up with exhaustion as they take notice of you, saying, "I never should have come here. The weight gain was supposed to be temporary, just a little extra padding for battle. But this has consumed me. Asterisk sigh asterisk now my back hurts, my joints ache, and all I can think about is food." With a mixture of sadness and resignation, she continues her descent. You wish her luck and continue on your journey.
Huh.
As you navigate the seemingly endless labyrinth of the tower, the unmistakable echo of hammer meeting metal guides your steps back to the familiar confines of the makeshift smithy. The glow from the furnace dances across the array of formidable weapons and polished equipment. The witch, you notice, is now decidedly rounder. Probably due to the caloric essence you traded her.
Well,
She grins, the firelight playing off her sharp features.
you've survived.
She lovingly pats her enlarged belly, a smirk playing on her lips.
Ready to trade more of that delicious caloric essence. I can promise your weapon will thank you for it.
The blacksmith takes the cube from your hand with enthusiasm.
Thank you, I'll save that for later. Now then, what did you want upgrading?
The elven dagger, please. Make this thing the perfect precision weapon.
An excellent choice.
She exclaims, taking the weapon from you. The hammer hits the anvil in a fiery dance, each strike altering the weapon slightly, fine-tuning its balance. Once done, she presents it back to you, no visible changes, but as you take it, the weapon feels different, more precise, more sure. You'll find your aim much truer, she guarantees, her gaze confident as she hands you the improved weapon. You thank the blacksmith for her help, then continue on your journey. Here is one of the goblin fights. I always try to throw out a diplomacy at them, since I do not want to fight a chonky goblin for no reason. But for some reason, I always fail the persuasion check, even if I stumble into the correct words with a +5 to the roll. I don't really know how useful the whole charisma thing is too. I mean, it would allow you to avoid some damage in the tower, but I would say that any points in agility is used far more commonly, to let you avoid much more damage. So yeah, not much to talk about the fight itself. I just have a good precise sword that can take her out in 2 hits, so that means I just need to let her take a single action. But as always, I miss the fact that I have an empty stomach, meaning I get a -1 to my dodge and get hit exactly because of that. Don't disrespect the status effects like I do, watch for them, and try to have a milk jug in your back pocket if you ever get debuff stacked. As you move through the corridor, you pass by another adventurer heading in the opposite direction. Judging by the amount of sweat, she seems exhausted. Hey, you still ascending the tower? Damn, you look heavier than I. No offense, but you must be crazy to still be going, she says between labored breaths. You wish the adventurer luck and continue on your journey. As you cross a section of wooden flooring, a board beneath your foot emits a long, complaining creak. You instinctively shift your weight, hoping it holds. Again, same deal, we will be failing this fight to see what happens and winning next video, so see you then. After an exhaustive climb through the bewildering layers of the tower, you step into what seems like a magnificent feast hall. A myriad of fragrant aromas saturates the air, an intoxicating blend of sweet, spicy, and everything in between. Tables laden with every imaginable delicacy stretch as far as the eye can see, and towering candlelit chandeliers cast a warm glow across the space. Here, amidst the splendor of the hall, stands a notorious adversary, the Gastromancer. Tales of her fearsome power have reached far and wide, whispered among those who have attempted the tower's climb. Word has it that she's not just a wizard, but also a chef of unparalleled skill, creating monstrous food creatures to assist her in combat. Her rotund form is swathed in robes that look like a combination of a chef's uniform and a wizard's garb. A soft, round gut gently juts out, indicative of her intimate relationship with the very creatures she brings to life. Her hands grip a staff capped with a gargantuan, pulsating purple gem. The gem throbs with a vibrant life of its own, casting a spectral light across the kitchen battlefield. Suddenly, her eyes lock onto yours. Gastromancer precisely twirls her staff, resulting in a beam of purple energy shooting towards a nearby cake. The cake rises from the ground and morphs into a towering, three-tiered cake monster, its frosting mouth opening wide to reveal a set of razor-sharp teeth. "Let's see how you fare against my creations," she says with a smirk, as she takes a step back and begins another incantation. Hitting the Gastromancer will be more difficult with her summons in the way, but not impossible. So here we are, fighting the great chef. The cake monsters she animates try to eat you. They are her main attack minion, constantly throwing out a small attack. It can be eaten, but it requires 2 actions to fully consume, and does give some HP back. The next monster she animates is the pot of stew, that will constantly heal her bit by bit, so taking it out is the #1 priority. This one can be consumed in 1 action, and heals a lot, so always target it, and use focus if you can to make sure you eat the soup as soon as possible. Both monsters are protecting her from your melee attacks. She is very difficult to harm with any melee, while a monster is animated, but your bow and arrow can still hit her without issue. This fight is about making sure she cannot heal, and making sure the cake monsters don't overwhelm you, since her own attacks are very rare and weak, dealing only 4 attacks with 5 damage, each, so very much below the average damage output of 30 for this floor. Not much to explain about this fight, now, since I will be intentionally losing, but it will be good to know for the next time when we take her out.
Enough of this pathetic resistance, your time has come.
Your body trembles from exhaustion as you struggle to resist the Gastromancer's magical onslaught. As you take a step backward, your foot slips in an ooze of frosting, sending you crashing onto the floor. The Gastromancer laughs, her voice echoing around the room. She summons one final cake monster which lunges right at you, pinning you down.
Finish her,
she commands, her voice ominous and chilling. The creature obeys, not with deadly claws or teeth, but with offerings of its own body. It begins to feed you, its sugary body crumbling into bite-sized pieces that force themselves into your mouth. Each bite is delicious beyond words, filling your senses with a pleasure so intense it blurs the line between pain and ecstasy. The cake monster continues its relentless assault, and despite your desperate struggles, you simply can't resist. You consume more and more, each bite adding to your swiftly ballooning girth. The Gastromancer watches your struggles with gleeful satisfaction as she slowly approaches.
Isn't it delicious?
She coos, her voice dripping with wicked delight.
You see, I'm not the villain here. I am merely presenting you with the greatest pleasure known, a meal made from the finest ingredients and prepared by the best chef in all the realms. Me.
She pauses, studying you intently as you digest the overwhelming flavors, your own body expanding steadily underneath you.
In fact, I think you are more suited here in my kitchen rather than wandering about in the tower. Yes, you might make the perfect taste tester for all my divine recipes, unending delights prepared just for you forever.
Weak from the fight and bloated from the forced indulgence, you don't have the strength to protest. You watch as the Gastromancer twirls her staff, and a plush chair with numerous restraints appears next to you. She smiles knowingly.
Welcome to your new life.
She snaps her fingers and you are hauled onto the chair, restraints automatically fastening around you, rendering any struggle meaningless. Your days become a cycle of feasting and resting, each dish more exquisite than the last. The Gastromancer delights in your reactions, making note of your preferences and adjusting her recipes accordingly. Time becomes a blur, marked by the ebb and flow of indulgent feasts and the steady increase of your size. Days turn into weeks, then months. Your once robust body now a massive mound of softness. With each passing day you grow larger, the chair expanding and accommodating your increased girth. You've fallen into a cycle of endless gluttony, a cycle from which there is no coming back. But the satisfaction in the Gastromancer's eyes when a recipe is particularly well received, the nurturing care she takes while preparing the food, and the bizarre sense of belonging keeps you from regretting. Instead of riches, you've found a different kind of wealth, one of taste, texture, and endless culinary exploration in the Tower of Gluttony.